What's going on, everyone? Hope everyone had a great weekend. Here we have just some kill of the weeks, along with chapter 2 of what is it?
Reinforcing armor.
I forgot the name of the story. That's on me. Yes, it's called The Fractured Futures.
Chapter 2, A Message from the Future. The morning after the murder should have begun with paperwork, briefings, and the kind of questions Mara had long grown tired of answering. Instead, it began with a knock, 3 sharp raps, on the glass door of her apartment. Mara froze mid-step. She wasn't expecting anyone, not at this hour, and certainly not on a day when she had been officially suspended from the investigation. She approached the door slowly. The hallway beyond was quiet. The lights dimmed to the blue-tinted glow that always made her building feel more like a cryo lab than a home. A courier stood outside, gray uniform, visor down, posture crisp and perfectly neutral. One of the regulation android messengers used for sensitive deliveries. And in the messenger's hands lay a thin envelope sealed with a small strip of white wax. Nobody used wax in 2147. Delivery for Detective Mara Lorne. The courier said, voice deep and mechanical with faint harmonic resonance beneath it. Mara's pulse ticked up. From who? Sender classified. The courier replied, that's illegal, Mara said. Classified mail is restricted to government agencies. I didn't request. The courier extended the envelope toward her. Biometric signature required. Mara hesitated only a moment before pressing her thumb to the envelope seal. The courier's visor blinked green. Delivery complete. Without another word, the android turned and walked away with the mechanical precision of a ticking metronome, disappearing around a corridor bend. Mara closed the door, leaned against it for a breath, and stared at the envelope in her hands. White wax. Old-fashioned. Her name in looping script across the front. And the handwriting. Her stomach tightened. She recognized it. It was her own. She carried the envelope to the kitchen, setting it on the table like a volatile artifact. A storm churned outside her window, the kind that threw forks of violet lightning against the clouds over Pacific arcology. The shadows flashed across her apartment in rapid pulses. Mara sat. Slowly, deliberately, she broke the wax. Inside was a single folded sheet of paper, plain, cream-colored, the kind manufactured in the older centuries, before the planet-wide transition to hollow sheets. She unfolded it. The message was short, just 6 lines, but each word felt like a blade. Mara, do not pursue him. You are not ready. You will die in the 17th loop. Stop now, before we lose everything. You. The breath left her lungs like she'd been punched. Her own signature. Not similar, identical. She checked the back of the paper for watermarks, fiber markers, anything that might indicate forgery. Nothing. It was aged, slightly yellowed around the corners. Not artificially aged, but lived. Real. Authentic. From her future. Thunder shook the building. The lights flickered. Mara stood abruptly and paced the narrow floor of her living room. The letter clenched in her fist. A message from herself. A warning to stop. A reference to something she'd never heard before. The 17th loop. She wanted to believe it was a trick, the murderer's ploy, a diversion. But the handwriting, no, it was hers. Exactly hers. The slight tilt of the L, the sharp point on the M, the way she crossed her T's too high. Her future self was trying to stop her, which meant this investigation mattered more than she realized. Mara moved to her desk, activated her holoconsole, and began scanning the letter for temporal residue signatures. If it had indeed traveled through time, the fibers would hold minute distortions, tiny echoes of chronal displacement. The first scan came back clean. The second scan, a faint ping. Level 3 temporal drift. Low but unmistakable. The letter had traveled. Mara exhaled slowly. Her apartment felt colder than it had minutes earlier. Her future self had risked sending a physical message. A risky, illegal act that could fracture local time if done improperly. Why? What was so important that she was warning herself to stop? She read the message again. You will die in the 17th loop. Was she saying Mara had died 16 times already? Or that there were 16 alternate timelines dead and buried somewhere in the fractured stream? Mara's fingers tightened around the paper. She burned it. Cautious logic told her she should preserve the evidence. But instinct, burned into her bones from years of hunting temporal criminals, told her the opposite. If her future self didn't want to kill her to know she'd received the message, the safest place for it was ash. The paper curled in the dish incinerator, dissolving into black flecks that drifted away like dead snow. She watched it burn without blinking. When the flame was gone, she whispered into the quiet room, "Don't tell me what to do." She barely had time to straighten when a flash of blue light erupted behind her. Mara spun, hand flying toward her weapon, but the flash faded before she could draw it. Only a whisper remained, drifting through the air like smoke. You shouldn't have burned it. Mara froze. The voice wasn't hers. It wasn't the courier's. It wasn't a memory. It was a man's voice. The same voice she'd heard in the chrono chamber. The murderer. Her pulse thundered. "Show yourself," she shouted. Silence. The air smelled faintly of ozone, the telltale residue of a temporal breach. Mara grabbed her scanner and swept the room. A faint signature glowed near the far wall, a ripple in the fabric of space-time, small but recent. He had been here. He had been in her apartment, watching. Her stomach tightened with a mix of rage and dread. She walked to the kitchen window. The storm outside was raging, but below, the neon-lit streets of the Pacific Arcology moved on as if nothing unusual had happened. Cars gliding through rain. Vendors selling synthetic news. People living their lives, unaware that the time stream above their heads was beginning to tear. Mara rested her hand against the cold glass, breathing slowly. The killer could appear anywhere, any century, any place. He was one step ahead of her and one step behind her, and standing in two different futures at once. But she wasn't going to stop. Let her future self warn her. Let the killer mock her. Let the timeline shake. She was Mara Lorne, and she did not quit. Tomorrow, she told herself, she would find out what the 17th loop really meant. Tomorrow, she would hunt the murder again. Tomorrow, she would break the rules. Lightning flashed. "Tomorrow starts now," she muttered, and she began packing her chrono gear.
Reinforcing armor. There goes the armor. Reinforcing armor. There goes the armor. I'm hit! Loading new mag! Changing mags. Swapping mag. Reinforcing armor.
Alrighty, well, that's the chapter so far.
There goes their armor.
Or that is the chapter. I want to get back into doing chapter 2, or at least 2 chapters per video. Other than that, I will see you guys on Tuesday stream. Yeah, as always, don't let things weigh you down.
There goes their armor. Loading